Hi, good evening everyone. Hope you're all well once again. Welcome to week 18 of Guitar Quest lessons. We're well and truly on to the second book now. So hopefully you've not had any issues getting hold of that and downloading it and so on. We'll just crack on really. A couple of things just before we get started. I'm going to change my camera angle ever so slightly. If you're, whatever device or computer or whatever you're on, if you have your emails or anything open or social media, please turn those off or quieten them down so that we have our uninterrupted half an hour. If you've got any questions, please type away in the chat, or if you're watching this back afterwards, if you've got a question, please just add it in the comments below and I will do my best to reply. Other than that, we'll be going back over a few of the exercises from last week and then we'll just be pushing on with a couple of new ones. I think I've angled my camera just a little bit too high, so just drop that down again. Okay, so start off with a bit of tuning. So here we go with our bottom E string. Try and make sure you're in tune with this. To the A, okay, and then D, our fourth string, and then on to G, which is the third string, and then B, which is our second string. Finally, E for our top E string. Okay, cool. And remember as well, just got to check something quickly. So excuse me a second. Just making sure I haven't got any audio issues, which looks like we're good. So posture. So typically we're just going to sit with the guitar over our right leg, particularly if you're more into kind of acoustic and rocky kind of music. Classical players, you want the guitar over the left leg, which I can't see so well, but that kind of thing. Get that nice angle on the guitar neck as well. Okay, so last time we were going to kick off with exercise. Today we're going to kick off with exercise 1, which is going to be our warm-up. So we've got the new notes E, A and D on the these bass note strings here. So E is our 6th string, A is the 5th, and D is the 4th string. So if we're looking at exercise 1 in the first bar where we've got 2 extra ledger lines, so there are 2 extra little lines beneath the stave, that's our A, 5th string. Then as we come on, so it stays on the A for the first 4, then as we come on to the second line we go up to the D where it's hanging off the bottom of the stave there, that's our 4th string. And then back to A, and then as we come on to the last line where we've got the 3 extra ledger lines, that's our bottom E string. So they're the 3 different notes. So let's give it a go. We might as well do the repeat I think. So please feel free to join in. So after 4, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. so hopefully that all went fairly smoothly. So we are going to move on to exercise 2, the funky den. So we talked about this one definitely last week, a little bit the week before as well. And so with this one, it's just a little bit more difficult because we've got our bass notes, but we're also going to be adding in some higher notes here as well. So hopefully you practice along the video and it's all making sense, but obviously do feel free to ask if it doesn't. We're going to take it nice and slow. We'll do the repeat as well. So that means we're going to play down to the penultimate bar of the piece and then repeat the whole thing and then finally finish on that final bar. So let's give it a go. So after 4, okay, so 3, 4. So, if you played along with that and it went well, as always, give yourself a pat on the back. That one possibly ended up being a little more tricky than I intended, particularly if you play along with the backing track I created. I think it's fairly fast, so if you can manage it, then fair play, and obviously that means everything's going really well. So, okay, so let's move on. So we'll turn the page. Let's have a quick go at the A chord just to make sure this is okay. So remember with A major or A, remember if we don't say minor afterwards, then we are implying major. So we've got the 3 fingers in the column, so we do the 3rd finger to the 2nd string, 2nd fret, middle finger 3rd string 2nd, and our 1st finger goes 4th string 2nd. And then because it's an A chord, we want the lowest note to be A, which is the lowest A we can get on the guitar is the 5th string. So therefore we strum from the 5th string. Hopefully you get that kind of sound. So things possibly to watch out for when you're playing it, it's like maybe these fingers are sort of a bit spread like that, so this 1st finger might creep a little bit towards the 1st fret, so just try and make sure you're tightening those up and all in at that 2nd fret. The other one to watch out for is allowing the fingers just to kind of angle down a little bit. I can't really show it very clearly on this, but if you angle too far down with this finger, you'll get that muted sound on the 1st string. So we want to try and avoid that just by getting the fingers up on the fingertip. So you'll find, another thing actually, just noticing myself, if you're holding the guitar and you've got the thumb too far over the top, that is going to pull the fingers down a little bit and mute that string again. So if you find that's happening, just check the thumb position and then just move it back round, and then that should sort of force the fingers to come sort of a bit further round, and we can get that nice and clear. It's worth pointing out actually, I don't know if I've spoken about it on any of the previous lessons, but the position of your thumb on the back of the neck is very fluid. It doesn't have to be fixed in one place, and that can be something that trips people up a little bit, and you know, they kind of think, oh, my thumb needs to be locked in position, but it really doesn't. And you move it around, you know, depending on what you're playing, You know, if we're playing down here, obviously if we then came to play something up here, then the thumb is going to have to come with it, otherwise you're just not going to be able to do it. So yeah, just keep an eye on the left hand thumb and just sort of try and think like, you know, is it lining up okay? Have I got it too high? Have I got it too low? You know, don't want it really low. You do want it pushing and pinching back against the fingers though. So occasionally I've seen people do this kind of thing to sort of help get these fingers up on the fingertip, and the thumb comes sort of in front of the fretboard. You definitely don't want to be doing that. You want to keep that as this sort of pinching motion, sort of pushing one way and pushing back the other. So yeah, that's our A major chords. So let's just quickly run through the other chords we know. So we're going to start with E minor. So hopefully you know this one fairly well by now. So we'll just give that a strum. So after 4, so 3, 4, and E minor. Okay, and then we're going to go on to E major, which is just adding the first finger here. So 3, 4, and then we're going to go for A minor, which is these ones, just whole shape moves across the string. Okay, so 3, 4, and then we're going to go for A major, which is the 3 in the column like we were just talking about. So here we go, so 3, 4, and so if any of those you found already notes that were getting a bit muted or whatever, just check your finger position, just try and get up on the fingertips as much as possible. It might be sometimes you've got to put just a little bit more pressure through the fingers and things as well. Another question that sometimes comes up is how hard or how much pressure do you need to put through the fingers? And that is a really difficult one to answer, because the answer really is just enough. So you don't want to be exerting pressure unnecessarily. You know, if you decide you want to go out gigging or something like that, if you're playing for a couple of hours and you're exerting unnecessary energy, you know, that's just not going to serve you well. So it's just enough pressure is the key. If you don't put enough pressure on, you'll get muted sounds and things like that. So you know, you can just sort of experiment around with it a little bit, and hopefully you'll get the answer that you're looking for. So okay, so let's move on from that. So we considered the new note E on the 4th string last week in relation to exercise 3. So this is where the note is going through the bottom line of the stave, and it's the 4th string at the 2nd fret. And because we're at the 2nd fret, we're going to use the middle finger. So if I just bring up the book, then hopefully, yeah, so looking at this here, this is our note E here. So where it runs through that bottom line of the stave, and that's E, and that's the 4th string, 2nd fret. So let's have a go at exercise 3. So I don't think this one's too bad. Hope you know, getting any feedback's very welcome. So we've got the note A to begin with, then in the 2nd bar we go to D, and then in the 3rd bar we go to E. Now one thing you do want to do is when you're playing, I didn't necessarily do this in warm-up exercise where we only had open strings, but you do want to keep your left hand sort of in the ready position. So for example in exercise 3 here, when we're playing, the first 2 bars are A and D, so they're just open strings, but you don't want your hand sort of down here or resting on your knee or over here or something. You want to have it ready so that when we come to that E 4th string 2nd fret, we're good to go. So you don't want to be, for example, playing like this, and then you get to it and go E, and then you lose your timing because you're taking a few seconds to get to that 2nd fret. So try and always be sort of ready to play and you know, sort of active in that kind of approach, I suppose. So those are the only 3 notes in this exercise. So let's give it a go. On the first and last lines, watch out for all the rests. I would suggest you just put your thumb back on the string after you've played it. You might hear some other kind of resonances and things coming out of the guitar, and that's all fine. You know, this is really just sort of a bit of technique practice. So let's give it a go. Remember, we play each line twice, and actually while I think of it, because there was a mistake on here, so I am just going to bring up a photo which shows this exercise here. So I hope you can see the cursor. So this repeat mark here at the start of the 3rd line, that is what got missed off the book when I sent it out. So, and we talked about adding it in last week. So hopefully if you've written it in, you should see the repeat marks there, which means we're going to play the first line twice, second line twice, and then the third line, we play the first 4 bars twice, and back to the beginning, play the first 3 bars, then jump over and do the second time bar. So, without further ado, we'll do all the repeats, and we're going to play it together. Again, the backing tracks are all on YouTube, so please do check them out and get playing along with them. If you do play along with the backing tracks, or you know, the best way to approach practice anyway with that kind of thing is practice on your own first. Try and make sure you've got the tune down, you're feeling reasonably comfortable and confident you're going to get it right. Then play along with the demo part of the video, which is the first half, which has got me playing the tune as well. And then when you're feeling confident, confident with the timing I should say, then you go on to the backing part, which takes, basically I don't play along and it's just all over to you to play the melody. And if you can do that, then you know you've got the tune cracked, So, but anyway, let's give it a go. So just on our own together then. So, I realise that didn't probably make a lot of sense, but we're all playing at the same time without any backing tracks is what I mean. So, okay, so after 4, here we go. So 3, 4, A, rest, D, rest, D, rest, and then E, rest, rest, back to the beginning of that line. Now to the E. We go to the second line, just doubling up here. D, rest, and up to the E, rest, and the first time bar, and we go back to the beginning of that line, and then the D, and then E, and then now we go to the second time bar, and the A note to finish off with. So, hopefully that went well. As always, give yourself a pat on the back if it did. If you found you struggled to keep up, or you found that you were hitting the wrong notes or anything like that, then just go back, take your time, and just practice makes perfect. It's the sort of age-old phrase, and it basically is completely true. So the more we practice, the better we get. So, but what we are going to do now is move on a little bit further. So looking at after exercise 3 there, so I'll just bring this up on the screen here for you now. So we have this new note here, F. So this is the 4th string at the 3rd fret. So if I just show you that quickly. So we were playing E at the 2nd fret. Now F is 1 fret higher at the 3rd fret. And if you remember the sort of logic we're adopting of like 1 finger per fret. So if anything, by that I mean anything at the 1st fret, we use the 1st finger. Anything at the 2nd fret, like when we play the E, we use the middle finger, and therefore when we come to the 3rd fret, we use the 3rd finger for the F. So that's our new note. The little 3 next to the note is telling you to use that 3rd finger. I think I mentioned this before, there's a little 1 at the top left hand corner of the bar as well, just next to the 4/4. That's just telling you the bar number. Obviously for that sort of bit showing you the F, there's only 1 bar, so it's sort of irrelevant to a certain extent, but more relevant as you come on to exercise 4. So I've just got the bar number at the start of the line. So if we said let's play bar 3 for example, you'd look at bar 1 and just count your way through, until you get to the 3rd bar. Obviously, the 5th bar is the start of the 2nd line. So there is one other little mistake. I went back through the entire book just to double check everything, and I spotted one other. It just so happens to be on this particular exercise, which is kind of frustrating. So I apologise for that. But it's if I just move through to here, on the second to last bar, we should have a repeat mark. So I'll just leave that up on the screen for a few seconds. So hopefully if you've got a pen to hand, you can just scribble that in. So what we're going to do is play from the beginning, play all of the first line, then we play the first 4 bars of the second line, then we go back to the beginning, play it all again, and then this time we just chuck that extra note on there at the end of D. So yeah, apologies about that mistake, and hopefully that was all clear. So right, let's have a go. So mainly the notes we're looking at are the ones on the 4th string. However, we do also have A, 3rd string, 2nd fret, and the open 5th string A. I think they're the only notes from memory. So I'll play through it. We'll take it nice and slow. Again, with dynamics and things, feel free to add them in if you want. As always, it's getting the tune and the timing is the more crucial thing, I should say. So, okay. So let's take it away after 4. So nice and slow. Okay, so 3, 4. So D, F, A, D, F, A. It's sort of the same. The second line. If you think of it, start getting a little bit louder. And onto the second line. And then we finish on that D there, just to round things off. So that's the tune. Let me just pop the track on so you can have a quick listen to it. Just got to find the right thing. So it's exercise 4. Okay, so hope you enjoy it. Should be loading up. Here we go. Okay, so a little bit faster than how we played it when we played it together just now. So you can use that aspect of this live video, like which will get uploaded to YouTube as usual, to practice at that speed, and then go for the full track or the demo track there, which is a bit faster. Hopefully, again, like you won't find this one too bad because it's quite repetitive in its nature. But again, it's always useful to hear how you guys get on with things. So do feel free to let me know. Okay, so that's all cool. So we're going to move on and turn the page and go on to exercise 5. So with exercise 5, I don't think there's really anything much in this that's new. If you see below exercise 5, there's that blue box just saying, like, can you remember how to play G and how to play A? So if you find you're sort of, a bit unsure as to how to play those, have a quick look back at Guitar Quest 1 and just jot the answers down in the book. So, I mean, just to give you them effectively, you probably know this because we sort of talked about it a bit already anyway, but G is the open 3rd string, and then A will be at the 2nd fret. So, so yeah, because obviously we've been focusing on the lower notes, so just sort of a reminder of those ones as we come back through, as they crop up. Other than that, the tune, it's kind of a little bit longer, but there aren't any repeats in this one, so actually it is shorter. It just kind of visually looks like a longer exercise. But let's give it a go. We're going to use, I should have said actually on the previous exercise and this one as well, we're just going to use our thumb to play all the notes. So, you know, obviously a lot of the time so far we've been using the fingers, but now we're going to be just using the thumb a little bit more. So typically the thumb is going to play the notes on these lower strings anyway, so we're just getting a bit of practice there. So ideally we want to be comfortable using the fingers or the thumb, and eventually like you'll be using both at the same time and that kind of thing. But that's a step further down the line just yet. So, okay, so let's have a go. Starting with exercise 5 then, so countryside amble. Again, just nice and slow, add the dynamics in if you want, but we'll just see how we get on. Okay, so here we go, after 4. So 3, 4. Okay, so that's the tune. Again, if you're playing along, hopefully that went okay. With any of the videos and things like that, you can obviously slow them down a little bit on YouTube. If you click on the little gear icon, usually it's on the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and you can go to playback speed. And normal is obviously real time, and then 3/4 is 0.75. I wouldn't suggest going slower than that because it will probably sound really sort of dirgy and not very nice at all. But 3/4 speed is probably okay. So, okay, but let's have a listen. I'll point at the music as we go along. I've just got to move things around a little bit so I'm on the right page. So, here we go, exercise 5. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, cool. So, right, hopefully that all made sense, and hopefully you like the tune as well. You know, it's always, if you enjoy the tunes that you're playing, you'll probably put more time into practice them, so that's obviously a good thing. And I think that is going to be a good place for us to finish up again. So, to recap then, what I would suggest as a bit of a warm-up is to have a go at exercise 3. That just has, you know, some of those new notes just to really kind of get stuck into. And then the main practice would be exercises 4 and 5. Obviously any older ones that you found difficult, either from this book or even from Guitar Quest 1, you know, you want to just keep going back over them and just try and keep the practice going. Obviously, as mentioned, the more you do, the better you get, kind of thing. So that's that. In terms of practice, remember 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, ideally it's every day. The advice used to be 30 minutes every day, but I think with the lives and busyness everybody tends to have in their lives, that can be difficult to implement. So 4 or 5 times a week would be ideal, but obviously any practice is better than no practice. So this video will get uploaded to YouTube fairly soon, and I'll send a link around for the lesson next week. I should say next week, actually I can't do the live stream at 6:15 at the usual time. So I'm actually going to a gig myself. I basically can't do it. But what I will do is live stream it earlier in the day, I'm not quite sure what time just yet, but I'll pop it in the email. If you're available and you want to watch it as the live stream, obviously that'd be great, and you're very welcome to. But you know, this is the time we usually do it. So by 6:15 or that kind of time, that video will be up on YouTube, and you can just watch it as if it was, you know, the live thing. And it would just be exactly the same. We'll just cover a little bit more from the book and go back over a few things, and hopefully that will you know, kind of keep you covered for next week. So I think that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed the lesson, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you're enjoying the tunes and things like that. And yeah, I will hopefully see some of you next week. But if you can't make the live stream, please do watch the video that will get put up, so you can see you're up to date. And then we'll be back again at 6:15 in 2 weeks' time. So very best of luck with the practice this week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you soon. Okay, take care then. Bye-bye.